You bought UnitedHealth. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I've owned it in the past, but I haven't in the past year and a half. It's always been, it's always sold at a premium to the group, and it should. It's the #1 managed care company in the industry, and they have a gem with Optum. And they have been doing lots of M&A to build up Optum, which is 24% of their total revenues, and they're going to do 12% operating profit just in this one segment alone. And the stock is now has not really done anything in the past year, and it is the whole sector, as you mentioned, is so out of favor. I kind of like that as a contrarian. And what got me interested is it's trading at 17 times earnings, and historically the stock is traded at 21 times forward. And when I owned it, it was trading at something like 25 times because every quarter was a beat, a raise, a beat, a raise. Now, I don't expect the quarter to be great tomorrow. In fact, I think they're probably going to miss on medical loss ratio because utilization rates are so strong, so high, and that hurts their costs. But I do think it's temporary. I think they're going to be able to handle it. They're going to see double-digit growth in earnings and revenues, and they have an $18 billion buyback program. So you get #1 company on sale. I think that the company, the visibility going after this quarter gets better and better. And by the way, I think the PBM regulation and the concerns there, yep. I think we've had 26 different kinds of regulations in the last 2 years out of Congress, and nothing has gotten done. So I think it's noise.
So I always find it difficult to talk about this stock without acknowledging what happened with the UnitedHealthcare CEO. And right. Then the subsequent anger that bubbled over the top from the surface to the surface, obviously, about these businesses. And I just wonder if what has been judged to be at times from several of you on this desk who own the stock or bought it after that event, if this is not so much a this too shall pass sort of an event, and if it's enough of a changing event that this stock is going to be under scrutiny as the industry itself is for a longer period of time than some would like to believe. I don't know how else to really say it.
You framed it well.
I feel as though we need to address it anytime somebody buys this stock, especially as a new position, because I feel like the environment around this whole thing has changed.
You have framed the question well. You've done it delicately, as befits what happened last month. I think there's an important piece of news last week, and there was yesterday, and there was a lot going on yesterday. I'm not sure we covered this, but UnitedHealth and others like CVS and Humana were up big yesterday because Medicare came out with some projected reimbursement rates that were much larger than expected. And while the debate that you framed, Scott, is not going to be answered today, tomorrow in earnings, it's going to be answered over time. I think there's a pretty big clue that yesterday's news, which comes well after the debate has been framed for a month, and we got better reimbursement for the government. I think it's a tell. I think it's a tell that the government realizes that in order to administer Medicare, they need UnitedHealth and CVS and Humana and others. They need these companies to administer Medicare. Look, the debate will continue, but I think
because
that's a pretty good
you own the
sign.
stock and you've added to it.
Yep.
In recent weeks too, you own the stock as well.
You got it.
Decent buy right here. In light of everything that we're discussing?
What Jim just said, which is, I think, paramount, because Medicare and Medicaid funding is always on the docket for this stock. That news yesterday was huge in terms of the reimbursement rates. Utilization is as well, that Steph mentioned. But for me, this has always been an earnings compounder. They're talking about 13 to 16% EPS growth over the next 5 years. And Optum is a juggernaut. So I continue to like this stock. The big thing, too, Steph, and I applaud the buy, is they guided conservatively in 2025. Yeah. So there is definitely room for upside surprises.
To your point, though, Scott, this is one of the reasons why the stock is trading at the multiple that it is. It's derated, and we don't have answers to it.
Well, you could see it from if you bring the chart out wide again, and you will see what was a $650 stock or 30, whatever it was, has in fact re-rated, and you can see. You can broaden it out further than that, please, to get a picture of a stock that had run up, and you can see the decline in it a little bit there you go. More
that's
clearly,
exactly
obviously.
Why I bought it, right? Because it's down so much, and a premier company. I know it's not perfect, but a premier company, number one, with a number one management team, they'll get through this, and I think the multiple over time will go back to where it historically has been. And I mentioned 17 times versus 21 times for the average. It's also trading at 12 times EBITDA versus 15 times for the average. So any metric that you look at, along with the stock price coming down, I think it is a buying opportunity, as delicately as I can say that, right? I mean, I know it's messy, but when you can get number one on sale because of something is messy, I think the management has proven that they will re-engineer and get back to double-digit earnings growth and revenue.
You have a